the great Bitcoin flipping, that hyperbitcoinization moment, all the degens love and talk about. This is like the pipe dream for the degens, and it comes with many different elements. There's 5 different elements that are going to actually have the flipping from happening. And I want to take you inside a space that it's going to break the whole thing down. We're going to talk about it. We're going to do a little bit of a troll fest and have a little fun. Take you on the inside and tell you what it's all about. So, and I got old Craig, I got Jack Lou, I've got the new reporter Kate. I've got Casey, Nicole, a lot of other speakers coming on the panel. They're going to come and break this whole flipping thing down and how it's going to work. And, I think you're going to like it. So we're going to do it in 2 parts on a little video series. I'll do a little introduction, a little preview part. And then we'll do a longer part with the full-on space where we go on for about 2 hours and a separate video after that. Okay, so this is going to be the Great Bitcoin Flipping Part 1. Hit the ones. Subscribe if you haven't already. There's a little notification bell on the channel. You got to hit that, okay? Hit that so you know when there's a new video. All right, my name's Gavin. I'll see you on the inside at the top. Stay tuned for the Great Bitcoin Flipping. So I wanted to, the reason I wanted to have this space was there's an absolute, first of all, like, dude, we got to have community, and like we community is like the most cool thing I think about this whole thing that we have. I mean, I'm sitting here, literally pinching myself sometimes at days. I'm thinking, like, to think that we have a community, no matter how small that it is, and it's not small, but to think that even if it was small in their opinion, compared to the Hoddle cult, it's amazing because people are really on the same page, man. They're on the same page and they have the same mission. I mean, and I think the mission is clear. We want digital cash. It's that simple. I mean, it's really that simple. We want digital cash. It's like, that's really what it is. It's like digital cash was the whole reason. That's the whole beginning of the white paper. That's what it was all about. Just digital cash. I mean, that's a very deep concept, but in simple terms, that's what we want. Digital cash, that's peer-to-peer cash online. And there's so much things that could be done with it on top of that. That like one unifying thing. And I mean, for some reason, like when I talk to Grok and I talk to any of these bots, it doesn't understand the difference between digital cash versus Lightning Network or any of these other networks that get involved in the way of digital cash. Because in Bitcoin, you actually can send a transaction to the other party and it's not verified by the nodes. It's just a cash transaction. Now, if I'm being paid $1, okay, this is a good example. I think I saw this on the video that Craig had with Neil Oliver. Maybe it was a different one, but he's like, look, if I'm being paid $1, I'm going to a restaurant and I eat my food first. I pay afterwards. I don't run out and leave, I pay afterwards. It's the same idea. Like with digital cash, you make the payment, do the service sometimes, and then verify the transaction afterwards. It happens. Yeah, and sometimes somebody runs out and they don't pay their bill at the restaurant. It does happen. Not very often, but it happens, and there's consequences for that. You never do business with that person again. So that's what digital cash is, and you don't even have to verify it with the nodes. That's a new concept. Well, I mean, if it's new, it's not new, but I mean, for me, it's new. It's like really understanding how that works. Like pretty amazing. I see that Crypto Kate's there. Craig Mason's in. Feel free to come up, add people up, and we can start getting the conversation going. That's like a big deal. The other thing I wanted to talk about was a Hoddle cult. Is this Hoddle cult narrative is ending right now. I talk to Daniel Street all the time, and I see he's been posting back and forth, and so we have this narrative that the Hoddle cult is pushing out there, that all they say is that, hold on, the price is going to keep going up. Michael Saylor is going to keep on buying. And I have not seen one good idea from any of those people about utility and digital cash and building Bitcoin. All I see about is financial, it's like financial fintech, whatever, their financial world 3.0. That's all they're doing. So it's just not exciting to me. And I mean, dude, I can't come into a space and be a part of a community if I'm not excited about something and it's actually changing the world. Personally, I'm not going to do it. I got other things. I got busier things to do. I got more things going on. But if we're actually changing the world and we're actually giving people freedom and peer-to-peer digital cash, that is like, dude, that's really important. And Satoshi made some great videos, and he always does. And we got to support Satoshi because he's got his leg all broken up, busted up in his bed on his femur there. And he talked about a video with JFK and that came out that he did. And you know how JFK's, the driver shot him, and all that. And he was talking about how digital cash, Bitcoin is what solves all these problems. I mean, that's why he's so passionate about what he's doing, making all those videos while his legs broken in the hospital bed. He's still, he knows that it's not just about like making money or getting a business. He knows that we're under this constant long-term spiritual battle, and the way out is Bitcoin. That's like a really deep, super deep message, but that's what draws me here. Yeah, I want to get, we all want to make money and we all want to do these things. That's like this, that's just like a basic motive. But if the only motive that we have was to start a business and to make money, well, that would fade away and we'd do something else. It would fade away. You do another business, you do another thing, it would fade away. But if you actually have a true purpose that is much higher than us, it's like a spiritual calling. And we know that our way out for freedom for all of us together in humanity, and this small little group is like Bitcoin, digital cash. That's the actual root of the freedom. That draws me in and it excites me. Like when I'm thinking about my role as a part of this, it just freaking really just fires me up to think that I get to be a part of this bigger vision, the Satoshi vision, from the white paper, digital cash itself. And to think that the guy, dude, the craziest part is to think that the guy who actually wrote that paper is actually, on X, and people are actually communicating with him. And just to think like how amazing that is. Like, and now, granted, you got Peter McCormick and you got Tufty, and they're out there doing everything they can to destroy that narrative. And I see it, and I see they're attacking Cade and they've attacked me, everybody. They attack people all the time. That's just they're paid to do that. That's their narrative. They're paid to do that. That's their purpose. But people who can actually see what's going on, we see that, look, the guy who actually wrote that paper, dude, he's on here writing these amazing articles and these amazing like philosophical narratives. And we actually can see that. To be able to see that is like walking around in the time of like Nikola Tesla. You're like, wow, Nikola Tesla, he was sued and he was treated like crap, and Edison tried to get rid of him, and JP Morgan wouldn't give him money, and he was broke, and he had no respect at that time. But the people who knew what he was doing, like they saw it, they actually experienced it, and they got to use it to their advantage. So yeah, it's not a popular narrative to like Nikola Tesla in 1900, but it was true. And that's ultimately what we're seeing right now with Dr. Wright. So, I wanted to change to Casey. Can you put something in the title like about how Craig was right? I wanted to put that in there too. I thought that would be cool. Oh, I also made a post about. I see Alexander in the crowd too, and I thought I wanted to talk about the Clarity Act too. So if he wants to come up, we can talk about that, because the Clarity Act is the other big part of this whole picture that's coming together. So you got like multiple parts. You've got the end of the Hoddle cult that's causing this flippening, okay? And the flippening is a real thing, dude. It's like, yeah, it's funny to laugh about and all that, but it is a real thing. As the profitability goes up on the chain for BSV and it goes down on BTC, the flippening starts to happen. The momentum starts to build. Okay, that's where we're going with this. And it's freaking, dude, I'd like to find out if people know about that. It looks like Craig's up here. So what's up, dude?
Yeah, we coping?
Coping. Yep.
Yeah, coping. Check.
Coping hour.
Yeah, the coping cult. Yeah, you were saying they call us a cult, but the thing about these people, all these people in any kind of con, people that want to control you. In BTC, it's the same thing. They always project. They always accuse you of exactly what they're doing. And this is just another case of them projecting. They accuse us of being a cult. BTC is obviously a cult. They all sit around on their podcast and on X and talk about Hoddle, Hoddle, Hoddle. And that's all they've got. It's like, it's obviously a confidence game. It's obviously a Ponzi scheme, and they project that onto us because we are the anecdote, or BSV is the anecdote to the Ponzi scheme. And so it's pretty funny how everything's coming together. And the thing I was thinking about this last night, because Gavin, you were talking about how it's all so exciting, and it is so exciting. Last week we were talking about how it just seems like things are changing really fast, and that Neil Oliver interview. You watch that, and it's like you can't watch it without coming out the other side of it and thinking, whoa, that's crazy. It all seems very real. The problem, and the reason I think they're all freaking out, is because the BSV narrative, i.e. this very small group of people, but growing, we can see it growing, very small group of people, the narrative that they've been so consistent with for 7 years straight, it's becoming extremely compelling. And that's where they're freaking out, is because you can't watch that Neil Oliver interview or get involved with BSV and talk to BSV people or really take a deep dive into crypto and not kind of come up and think like, oh, wow, this BSV thing seems legit. Even if it seems kind of crazy, it's so compelling, and they're freaking out, which you just love to see. So yeah, the flippening does feel real, and BSV is so low. I love the price of BSV. That with the hodling, they have to have the price go up, because that's the whole confidence game. You buy more, the price goes up. We all hodl, nobody sell. It's like they're all pointing this imaginary gun at each other. Don't sell, you got to hodl. That's how we get the price up. BSV, people selling, like, okay, great, more cheap BSV for me when I can scrape $21 together. No problem for me, because the technology is there. This totally revolutionizes finance, makes all the legacy finance obsolete. That's why they're so scared of it, and they call Craig dangerous. They call us dangerous. Yeah, BSV is dangerous to the middlemen, to MasterCard, to Visa, to all these people. It is dangerous to them, and that's why they're freaking out. And it's like, as long as BSV survives, it's only a question of when. So, and when seems sooner every day, like soon as in actually soon. So I'm excited.
Dude, and that's the thing I think that people don't maybe in the fintech world don't understand. Because in fintech, it's a long-term thing, as the markets change, and you got the mutual funds, and you've got the stock market, and it's a long-term cycle, like maybe a 50-year or 30-year or 20-year cycle. It's this long, super long-term cycle that happens. Now, that's the big difference that Bitcoin and this is all happening. This is not, well, yeah, there may be charts and long-term charts. That's different. I'm talking about the actual flippening. The flippening is not a long-term. It's actually an overnight thing. Do you agree with that, Craig?
I mean, I think so, but tell me more. I don't know if I totally get it.
So look, if you look at the transactions on Teranode, the transactions on Teranode are massive. They're scaling at 1 million transactions a second. It's now scaling on beginning to scale on chain. Businesses are starting to bring these large institutions on. Are we there right now? No, trust me, you'll see when it happens, because that's when the flipping is going to happen. But when the transactions go up so high that it becomes just inevitably more profitable to mine BSV, what are the miners going to do? Brett was at the mining event in Dallas just a week ago, and he called me. He was like so excited. He's like, I can't believe it. None of these miners give a shit about the cult, about the Hoddle cult. They don't care about that. They're not interested in the Hoddle cult narrative and the whole laser-eyed things. They don't care about that. He's like at the mining things. None of these people, they don't care about any of that. They're just here to make money for their shareholders. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the beauty of the incentives of Bitcoin, is that the miners put all this money into infrastructure. All these miners, how could they care about anything else? Which, I'm not saying everyone should only care about money, but when you're in the business of mining, that's how Bitcoin. Sorry, my son's walking in. They put all this money and infrastructure into all the mining rigs and setting it all up and making sure it works. And it's like they have to go with the most profitable chain. Essentially, that's how they ended up on BTC for so long, because the price is so high. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know when the flipping happens, but at some point it does seem kind of inevitable. It should be fast, I would think.
I mean, if Teranode is cranking out more profitability for the miners, right, and there's just more transactions that are happening. And see, when you're a miner, you see the different options that you can mine.
So where do the transactions come from? Like, where do you think there's going to be a massive influx of transactions from?
Where?
Yeah, where?
Well, where is it? that's really, I guess I mean, I like to try to put it in my own hands because I don't want to rely on somebody else. For me, it's about, I believe that they're going to come from, like, if I can help, would be consulting with businesses, helping to show them how to use BRC 100. And now that we have what's called a vendor neutral wallet infrastructure, they can now utilize the network. As before, when you had no vendor neutral wallet infrastructure built, it's like, well, I'll use money button. Oh, well, that's not working anymore. Oh man, and they go somewhere else, or Sendby or whatever. So now that's over with, now they can basically just decide whatever they're going to use. It doesn't matter. They're going to build on the BRC wallet infrastructure is built. Now the transactions can come in at any size business. That's where I think they're coming in from the base layer, the very front end, which is the wallet infrastructure. Having the
that makes sense.
Is such a big breakthrough.
Yeah, it seems like it. So you think that, and this makes sense. I'm just trying to understand what you're saying this might look like. So eventually more people just catch on to use BSV because it's so compelling to use and extremely cheap, and the transaction fees eventually make it such that miners want to switch over.
It will be more profitable to mine.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So how do you think because the way that definitely makes sense too. I think in the long run that's the only way that BSV is going to win. In fact, I saw a tweet. I retweeted it recently. It was from this morning, I think. And someone was saying responding to someone saying the hash war is over, BSV lost, or I don't know if they're talking about Bitcoin Cash, but this is just a failed fork. And they said that the hash war isn't over, the fork wars aren't over until the block subsidy ends. And then we'll see who really wins. So in the long run, I don't see how it could be anything but BSV. I don't think it's going to take 120 or 140 years or whatever it is, but what about the price? What about just the fact that people catch on, even if there's not the massive transaction throughput on BSV yet, if people catch on that BSV will be, if they start to understand what you're talking about here, then couldn't sort of flipping happening in the price even sooner than that? Because of the higher rewards?
People message me every day. People message me every day. I actually muted you by accident. My bad. I was trying to add people up. Casey, are you able to have a co-host and do that now, Casey? You were having bugs there. Okay, you are. Yes. All right. So yeah, can you ask that a question again, Craig? I got distracted.
Oh yeah. So, I mean, in the long run, the transactions on BSV, when the block subsidy runs out, I don't see any way it can possibly be anything else because it's the only one that can handle that. But in the short run, with kind of an awakening to BTC crashing and being a Ponzi and associated with Epstein, and BSV getting out there and people seeing that it actually is Satoshi's design, and the kind of great awakening phenomenon about BSV just catching on with the price being so low. If BTC crashes enough and BSV rises enough, could that cause the flippening too with miners, or is that kind of secondary?
I don't think so. Well,
I'm a noob at this stuff, so I'm just trying to figure it out.
Like that would be another angle. So you're
okay.
Like, there's multiple pressure points in this. There's so many pressure points on this.
Yeah, exactly. It seems from all angles there's pressure points, and BSV is so low and BTC is so high, and it's like this is a house of cards / a rocket waiting to blast off.
Then you've got the legal pressure point, which is going to be the Clarity Act. That's the other side, the entire legal side of it as well. I mean, there's pressure point from that as well. So you've got.
And which one is the Clarity Act? Is that the stablecoins one, or is that something else?
No, that's the Genesis Act. That's the Genius Act. That's the stablecoin one. The Clarity Act.
Oh, cool. What's the Clarity Act?
That's in the Senate right now. It passed the House, and it's defining a mature blockchain. And it's going through and defining a mature blockchain. And when you read the 7 elements of a mature blockchain, there's 2 of them that pretty much knocks out ETH and knocks out BTC and knocks out Ripple. There's 2 of them. You cannot
So what happens if you're not a mature blockchain? Yeah, go on. Sorry, go ahead.
You're a security. So you're under the SEC instead of the CFTC. That's how. Now, again, it's not law yet, but if so you got multiple pressure points. We could outline them all. The miners, that's one, right? That's the one pressure point. Then you got the legal pressure point, which is the Clarity Act, the incoming Clarity Act, which is once it passes, it'll be 3 years out. So they're defining a mature blockchain, and they're clarifying which body of laws you're going to be under. Are you going to be under the CFTC for commodities, or are you going to be under the SEC for securities? And so all what they've done right now with what's passed the House is it says, okay, if you were front running the system and doing, holding all your, mining all your tokens or doing like front running them, like Jed McCaleb and Vitalik Buterin or any of these people that front run the whole system, right, before they launched. They didn't actually do the work. It wasn't like mining blocks. These were just proven, these systems that they created. These systems cannot qualify. They're securities. They cannot qualify as commodities. Okay, they're not going to be mature blockchains. That's just one problem with them. Just one. Well, I mean, this is why, what's his name? Brian Armstrong is over there in Congress right now. He's lobbying against this. He's trying to get all these cryptos to become commodities. So
interesting. I'm guessing BSV is a mature blockchain, according to
BSV is the only one that clearly meets all the elements that I know of. You have to have no central point of origin. You cannot have one person that just pretty much controls the network, or one group of miners, one group of people, one core group of developers that can change the system. One of the other requirements is the system rules must be set in place before it launches. And
that sounds familiar.
That way.
Sounds a set in stone protocol.
Yeah. How does BTC or Ethereum qualify for that? Ethereum went from proof of work to proof of stake. That is a completely violation of that. You cannot. I mean, you can, but it's not like it's against the law. What it's saying is that's fine. You're just a security. You're regulated under the SEC now.
So what happens then if they get under the SEC?
Well, Series 7, licenses, financial licenses for everybody. You're a stock. You're a stock.
Interesting.
You know how strict the stock market is on licensing and all that? I mean,
right.
Yeah, very strict.
Could you trade that peer-to-peer still? I mean, I guess you could trade a stock peer-to-peer. Is there, I'm sure there's a lot of more reporting requirements. I would think. I don't know.
If it was on Bitcoin, potentially, like BSV.
Right. Yeah, they've all got a bunch of interesting systems that all just should run on BSV if they want them to work.
Right. I mean, it's dude, this is like the other narrative, the legal narrative of the flippening, because as the Clarity Act is coming in to law, and if Brian Armstrong doesn't get his way, Alexander Mann was here, he left. I don't know where he went. I was gonna have him up. Is anybody requesting up Casey? If he does, add him in. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Casey.
Hey, Jack, welcome to the stage. I just let Jack Lou up and Chief.
My thing is not showing up. I don't see any. So let me refresh my page.
Yes, Twitter's Spaces is being really buggy for me too. Just so you know, I can't use the Nest at all. I don't know how to make it work.
They're on to us.
Chief, yeah, something's going on. But yeah, Chief, welcome to the stage. Do you want to say hello? Good afternoon.
You guys carry on. I just wanted to give a shout out to Gavin. I don't know how often you come onto this type of platform. I'm glad to see it. I usually watch your YouTube stuff, so I'll listen in for a bit and then catch on the conversation. How's everyone doing?
We're just talking about the cult, you know what I mean? And how the good to hear from you, Jack. How you doing, bro?
Good. I feel like right now unfortunate to say that I think like BCH is our biggest threat right now. We need to think about how to flip BCH or not get more distant from BCH. I remember 2 years ago, I think BCH was only about 5 times more than BSV. It was about 500 and BSV was about 100. This is right before the Craig case. And now it's 20, and BCH seems to have some momentum. They've got some new quantum proof thing. They've got a cash VM. They've got miner validated tokens. They're really catching on to the fact that it's not enough for them to just.
All right. So check it out. You're gonna have to watch the rest of the space on the end on the rest. I'll put a link to the rest of the video on a split this thing up. That was about what 30 minutes. So you'll get to hear what Jack has to say going in on the rest of the whole talk, and we do a full on BSV BTC flipping narrative, the Hoddle cult, ending of the Hoddle cult, and really break this thing down in a much deeper conversation with everybody else. So watch the rest of the video on the next here at the end, a little preview there at the beginning on the front end of it. So, all right, that's all I got. Hit the ones. Look for the next one coming soon. My name is Gavin, and I will see you at the top. Later.